What's going on, everyone? It's Steven the Laggy Gamer, and I guess before we get into the discussion, where's all my stuff at? Yeah, like I said in previous videos, I have a second child due coming here pretty soon in March, and we actually found out what we're having today. We're having a little baby girl, so I'm having a boy and a girl, but this is going to be the little girl's room. So I'm moving out all the game stuff, and it is set up somewhere else that once it's kind of put together and finished up, I can start doing some filming in front of there again. It's kind of weird because I've taken some stuff out of here. Now there's an echo in the room, but slowly but surely I'm cleaning this room out and switching everything up. So not all is a loss because the games are still out. But eventually we're gonna have to be getting into some bigger space if we keep popping little ones out like this. But anyways, that's an update. Also, contest video. I'm probably going to film it here within the next day or two and probably put it up on Friday or as soon as I get it filmed. It's going to be going up this week for the 500 subscribers. I appreciate all the entries, all the video responses. Hopefully I caught all the responses and got everyone in there who did it. But we'll have the drawing for that sometime later on this week. And yeah, I think that is about it. So without further ado, let's get into this discussion. And as you can see by the title, we are going to be talking about The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. A game that seemed so. I don't know what Nintendo was doing. They just did not seem like they were advertising this at all, as far as commercials or anything. Where it's kind of rare that I even see a Nintendo commercial these days, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is hands down one of the best Zelda games you can play. It's one of the best games that you can play this year. It is flat out amazing. It is a fantastic game. If you are a Zelda fan whatsoever, you are doing yourself a disservice if you do not play this game. Or any action adventure fans, you gotta play this. So, anyways, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. This actually was one that I wasn't gonna get right away either, but I was given this as a gift, and within the past 2 days, I say I knocked it out in 2 or 3 days. Got it Thursday or Friday, and finished it. Yeah, got it Thursday, Friday, and finished it Sunday. Finished it that quick. I've never beaten a Zelda game that fast. So, anyways, love it, love it, love it. What's it about? Well, most people know if you're looking into it, it's pretty much it is a swan song. It is a love song for any Zelda fan. It's like it's got bits and pieces from just about every Zelda game in there. Little cameos from other games, music from other games, just remixed and developed even better. And it's just a love song to any Zelda fan. It's just like, hey, we appreciate you and you guys for being with us all this time and playing Zelda games. We're gonna give you not a remake, but one of the most coveted Zelda games, Link to the Past. We're going to give you back to that universe. We're going to put you back in it, and that's pretty much what it is. Here's it's Link to the Past, just updated, but so much different. Now, what that it means is you're in the pretty much the same world as you were in Link to the Past. You're in Hyrule. I've played Link to the Past, but I've never completed it. And so everyone who says it's pretty much, from what I've gotten, it's an exact replica of the maps, pretty much, of Hyrule, except the dungeons are kind of mixed up. And I don't think anyone would complain about that or call it laziness or anything, because you still got to do the work of creating it on the 3DS. But I thought they did a great job recreating the world. And it was so cool with how they recreated it, yet incorporated all the little touches from Zelda games that have come out, like Ocarina and stuff like that, and how those got incorporated into the game without changing the Link to the Past setting. It was so cool how they did all that. But you're pretty much in Hyrule again, and your enemy this time, I believe his name is Yulga, or Yulga. I can't really pronounce it. Basically, looked like this wizardy witch foe who comes out into Hyrule and is starting to turn people into paintings because once again he's after the Triforce and he wants the beginning of the game. He's talking about wanting to bring back a fierce evil Ganon. So if he can get all of these sages and capture the sages, get the Triforce, and bring Ganon back to power. Those are his evil plans and deeds. And of course, it's up to our young hero Link to put an end to all this. And of course, holding one of the Triforces within himself, and he's our hero. He goes off to battle. So, anyways, that's pretty much the game. You're going throughout trying to get these dungeons to rescue the sages and so on and so forth. And the beginning of the game starts off with, I believe, pretty much how Link to the Past start off with collecting the pendants and all. But I don't want to get into too much spoilers with that stuff. Let it be little surprises for you guys. But man, it was just so awesome revisiting the world and just how it was made. And the simple story turned out to be fantastic. As more stuff develops throughout the story, past the midpoint and everything, and near the end, it's not the most out there story, like it's not going to catch you off guard or anything, but it is a well told and really good, memorable story in the Zelda timeline. So, speaking of timeline, I don't know where the heck this is going to fit in. I think this happens after Link to the Past, but I'm not sure. But anyways, the story was fantastic, really gripped me. But what is Zelda about? It's about going through these dungeons and getting your items and going on to the next dungeon, right? Well, kinda. In this one, if you haven't figured out already by all the reviews, it's kind of based off of a different system. There isn't a go into a dungeon, get your item that you're going to be using throughout the dungeon, and move on to the next one. It's kind of similar, but kind of not, because basically the game lets you, through Ravio, a merchant in the game you meet at the beginning, he actually lets you rent out the items. So whenever you want to go into a dungeon, pretty much when you get to a dungeon area, it'll have a little symbol outside of it knowing you're going to be using the bow in this one, or you're going to be using the hook shot. So make sure you rent that item. So therefore you can go rent the hook shot, go into the dungeon, and there you go. You're pretty much in the dungeon. That's all you needed. Now what you can do though is you can rent all the items at the beginning of the game. And as long as you don't die, you'll keep the items, just renting them the whole time. I didn't have any deaths in the game. I think at the end when it tallies that I had none. So not that it was easy. There was once in a while I had some fairies on me that revived me. But yeah, it was just, I never had to lose items or worry about it. And later on in the game, you can actually buy the items off of him for a certain amount of rupees. So it's a system that I liked because what it did was it created this open world where you could pretty much pick any dungeon you wanted to go into and venture into it and tackle it that way. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't any rewards for doing the dungeons. Instead of just getting those items, you get gear. Like in previous Zelda games, you can get minerals to power up the Master Sword. You can get different tunics. There's other items in these dungeons that they're not on the path. You got to go kind of off the beaten path to get them, but they are used in the game to power up Link and make him stronger. So that is an extra, an added incentive to really explore these dungeons and get what you can out of them so you can get these pieces of gear. By the end of the game I did. I had Link fully powered up. He had the Master Sword level all the way up, and he had the tunic level all the way up for the third color tunic you can get. I don't want to tell the colors because I just don't want to spoil, but yeah, really cool how they added those in the dungeon just to give you that added sense of exploration to really go in there and continue exploring them. But what good is exploring dungeons if it's not fun? Well, it is a lot of fun. The combat is so fluid in this game. It is just, it's perfect. It just takes you back to playing Link to the Past when you played it. Even the sound effects to all the characters and everything is the same. It's amazing how they just got everything so perfect. And the combat was as fluid as ever. It's the best handheld, one of the best handheld Zeldas I've ever played. It's up on par there with Link's Awakening, and once it all sinks in, this could overtake Link's Awakening. The story might not be as good as Link's Awakening, but the gameplay is way better. They just did a great job in melding this rental system with getting the gear, with all the other stuff you have. It's classic Zelda. You got heart pieces to find. In this game, there's I kept saying miasma, but there's like these mai things, these little octopus things and shells that you can go around and find, like the Skulltulas in Ocarina of Time. There's 100 of them throughout the game map, and if you find them, it actually lets you level up all the weapons that you were able to rent and purchase in the game. You can level up the bow. It's called To the Nice Bow. It's the upgraded version. After you find 10 of those, you go turn them in and you pick an item to level up that you bought, and there you go. It's a leveled up weapon. It's really cool because the bow has a spread shot. The bombs are huge, and yeah, I won't get into spoiling everything so you can surprise yourself with it. But it's really cool how that upgraded system was incorporated in the game. It's just so awesome, and all the other little mini things with the rupee games and everything that are in the game. So there's so much to keep you occupied in this game. I think I found about a little over 80 of them and got most of my stuff powered up. There's 2 items I still need to get powered up, but other than that, everything else is fully leveled. But there's, I think, and I had a few more heart pieces. This is one of the shorter games. It took me 15 hours and 45 minutes according to the activity log, and we all know how accurate that is. But I couldn't find an in-game timer actually in the game. And I really explored this world. There, I missed a few heart pieces to, I think, 3 more heart pieces to complete my hearts. And like I said, I missed some of the 100 of the collectibles in there. So, but I'm pretty close to it, and there is a hero mode after you beat the game that I'm wanting to dive into too, just for the added challenge. Because it wasn't easy, but it was pretty easy. It's a pretty easy game, especially once you start getting stuff leveled up. But it was still fun. There are chances where I did need to fill my hearts back up. So the game is so like any Zelda game. If you know how to go back and forth between rooms, you can fill your hearts up real quick with pots and stuff like that. But just fantastic, fantastic game. Visually, it looked amazing. Like I said, it's shout outs to Link of the Past. It's shout outs to a bunch of games in the series. There's Majora Mask stuff hanging in Link's house. I mean, there's little shout outs to everything in the game. The music. Oh, this is probably, it's tough. This could go down as my favorite Zelda soundtrack because it takes the best from all the games and puts them in this game and adds some remix versions to them that just makes them beautiful. You can go into the Moo Bar, the Moo Moo Bar, whatever you call it, where you can get some milk. And there's a guitar player and I want to say a clarinet or flute player in there where you can pay them 10 rupees. And there's several songs, classic Zelda songs that they played, just acoustic versions. It was so beautiful. The music's fantastic. I just loved it. And just with the visuals of it, 3D looked really good. I played on with the 3D the whole time because it was that good, just seeing the world come out to you. And there's puzzles in the game that incorporate these 3D visuals, so you kind of want to have them on for perspective reasons. And like back to the gameplay, some of the puzzles in here were really, really, really creative, especially with the added thing of pretty much turning into a painting and going into a wall. That added so much to the game as far as what they could do for puzzles, but they didn't make them overly confusing. I did not need a guide for this game at all. You won't need one because over time you eventually just figure it out on the room, and it's really rewarding once you figure everything out. And the dungeons aren't that big. It's like a perfect handheld game. They know you're going to be playing on a handheld. I think the max time I might have spent in a dungeon, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and that's really exploring. But they never overstayed their welcome, and they never understayed their welcome. It was the perfect amount of time to be in there. So it was fantastic. And I really don't know much else I could say about this game. It was just, it's hands down one of the best Zelda games you can't play. I'm trying to think if there's anything jumping off that I might have missed. And sorry, my throat is starting to give out. Should have brought some water in here. But I just loved it. I was afraid we had East coming out here tomorrow, and I wasn't going to have it beaten in time for that. But I could not put this game down. It was that good, and in several days I had it done. And I do not regret it one bit because this was time well spent. Easily one of the best Zelda games. I don't know what more I could say. Just a fantastic shout out to any Zelda fans. You gotta play this game. So if there's anything I'm missing, I know Dustin just finished it today too, so his video will probably be up. So go check his out because his will be 10 times better than this video anyway. So I'll probably link it below whenever it gets up so you can kind of see it. I think it's the first time we've had dual release date videos, so it's pretty cool. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say about it because he was raving about it in the chat, me and him both. So anyways, before my throat gives out and I have to cough again, stay tuned for the contest video later on this week. Like a gamer, like out.